Shortly after 8 o'clock this evening, Toronto Fire Services responded to the report of a small plane crash into the area of Monarch Park High School. Upon arrival, our crews found a small plane that had crashed just shy of the soccer field into the parking lot right beside the grandstand. I am happy to report there are no injuries to the occupants of the airplane and no injuries to the civilians that were playing soccer on the field. As you can see, the game continues. Toronto Fire Services has worked with Toronto Police and Toronto paramedics. We have stabilized the scene. We have dealt with the leaking fuel, so that hazard has been mitigated. And at this time, we have deemed the situation under control. So there is no risk to the public. And at this time, we have also notified Transport Canada. They are the authority having jurisdiction in terms of this type of investigation. So Toronto Fire Service and Toronto Police will maintain scene continuity and stand by until the arrival of Transport Canada, and then provide any assistance that is required or requested by Transport Canada. So again, a small plane has crashed into the Monarch Park High School ground. There are no injuries to occupants, no injuries to the persons that were playing soccer on the field, where the plane was probably 50 feet short of landing. Toronto Fire Services mitigated all risks to the scene, and we will hold scene continuity with Toronto Police Service. Happy to take any questions.
Any indication what happened with the plane, why they chose to land here?
None whatsoever. So I have not spoken to the occupants or the pilot of the plane. I have certainly seen them, and they certainly have been cleared by Toronto Paramedic Services, so thank God they are okay. And again, that will be, I'm sure that will form part of the investigation by Transport Canada.
Were they looking for a field to land or a clear spot?
To be very honest, I don't know. I haven't had a conversation with them, and again, I wouldn't ask them questions pending the investigation of Transport Canada.
What kind of plane is it?
I would say it's a small, almost like a Cessna plane. I'm not an aviation expert, but one of those planes where you probably have no more than 4 seats in it. And it crashed into the fence in the parking lot just before the soccer field where all the individuals were playing.
Can you give us a sense of the ages of the passengers?
I would say they were. I don't have their gender right now. I would say they're in their mid-30s to 40s. But again, they've been cleared by Toronto Paramedic Services. That is the important thing. And they certainly will await the arrival of Transport Canada and certainly speak to their investigators.
So they're still on scene, they weren't taken to the hospital?
That's correct. They were assessed on scene by Toronto Paramedic Services, and to the best of my knowledge, there has been nobody transported to hospital by Toronto Paramedic Services.
How lucky is it that they didn't hit the field that was full of people playing soccer?
We were very fortunate tonight. When I was back at the scene, and you look at the amount of people on that field playing soccer, and we got very lucky tonight. The plane crashed into the fence. As you can see, the trees behind me. It appears to me that it came through the trees, and then landed on the ground and skidded into the fence. So certainly, we were very, very fortunate. It did not land or crash onto the field with all of those people playing soccer.
And this is school property? Is it going to be, will this impact school operations?
So I can't speak for the school board. I'm certainly, we've made a notification to them. That will be up to them to decide, and candidly, that will be also up to Transport Canada on when they decide to release the scene. So this will be the scene of Transport Canada for the investigation. Any risk to the public has been mitigated by Toronto Fire. And as I said, Toronto Police and Toronto Fire will remain on scene and assist Transport Canada as requested. But this is not our scene anymore. We're awaiting their investigators, and then they will work with the school board in terms of next steps in the morning.
Any idea where the plane was coming from, where it was going to?
I don't have that information. As I said, I have not personally spoken to the pilot or the occupants. We are intentionally not doing that so that we maintain the investigation continuity for Transport Canada.
Chief, can you speak to how unusual this incident is?
Well, I've been speaking to my colleagues tonight. I spoke to the city manager and the deputy city manager, as well as Councillor Fletcher and the mayor's chief of staff, and spoke to a very senior number of Toronto police officers and firefighters and paramedics tonight. This is rare. You know, we did have the plane go down into the lake a number of weeks ago, but to see a plane crash land into the heart of the city on a high school property is something I have not seen in my close to 30 years, and it is extremely rare. So we are very, very fortunate that there were no injuries, that it turned out the way it did, because it could have been a lot worse. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.